What is it like being a Jamaican in Denmark? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com. Today, in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Claire Requa, a Jamaican who has been living in Denmark. Hi, Claire. Welcome.
Hi, Xavier. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First question. Which part of Jamaica you come from?
I'm from Kingston. I was raised in Kingston, but I have to say that my grandparents are from Cascade, Hanover, and I spent many summers there. So I have a small attachment to Hanover.
Okay. All right. Big enough Hanover here.
Yes, yes, right.
And which school you went to in we love our high school. So
St
which school
Andrew.
you went to?
St Andrew.
Oh, oh, you're my sister.
JC. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Right.
So tell us your story of how did you end up in Denmark? How did you get to Denmark?
Yeah. I met a man in my teens, a Danish man that was visiting Jamaica with his family, and we kept in touch over the many years. And were pen paling. Those days I didn't have Facebook or anything like that, and so we were pen paling. I'd moved to California, and we were still pen paling. And then we decided, why don't we see what this is about? So I visited Denmark one Christmas, and went back to California and thought, that's kind of what I thought at the time was a very progressive country. So after some time, we decided that we would make it permanent, and so I married
Okay.
him and moved to Denmark.
Okay. How many years ago?
I've been in Denmark now 33 years.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
more than half my life.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I saw you there thinking a little bit, and maybe it's just trying to remember it. But I've done a few of these, and sometimes it's the language. Folks have gotten so immersed in the language. And so
Yes.
are
Yes.
you immersed in the language that no, sometimes you dream in it and you think before you say your English words?
I have to think before, because there are some words that I've learned, new words that I've learned in Danish. And then I have to think, okay, what did people say in English about this? What do they call this in English? But I don't dream in Danish. Um, but I am immersed, and I do have to cut a while and think, what I want to say. So yes, yes,
Well, and how difficult was it learning the language?
very. I went to school for about 6 months, and then I could read some things in Danish. But it sounded at the time, it still does, but it's at the time very, very awkward in my mouth. So I was afraid to speak in Danish, even though I could understand a lot of conversation and of course reading. So but I think maybe the better part of 2 years.
Mm. And you had family there? Did you
Well, when I came, I didn't have my mother has had a sister here, and she lived in Copenhagen, so I had some contact with her, um, which was some minimal contact.
okay.
Uh, yeah.
So what do you love about Denmark? Because again, you've been there. I mean, you've stayed. You're there. It's
Yes, yes. Well, I can tell you that I came to Denmark with two children from an earlier relationship, earlier marriage, and they were 8 and 10 at the time. And I got them in a school that was half an hour by bike from where we lived, and they would bike to school every day. My son was kind of chubby at the time, And just this cycling back and forth half an hour every day, trimmed him up. But I love that they could do that. I love that I could not be worried about their safety going back and forth to school. So the low crime rate was very, very important to me. But it took time. It took time to get used to this country, Things work here. They work.
Okay.
They work. The technology is a highly respected country for technological technology, and
Right.
and things work. You go to the post office if you need envelopes, they're there. You need boxes, they're there. Not like Jamaica, where when I would be selling some things from Jamaica, I would have to. The lady would tell me, wrap it in brown paper and put string. I said, what? Put string around it? You don't do. What? And the string and the paper you can't bind there neither. Let me just tell you
Right.
that.
Right.
So, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be, wouldn't you get more money if you just had some paper to the side and some string and you could sell that to people when they come with it? No. Anyway, but things work here. And the other thing I like about it, even though the cradle to grave system works for Danes and works for people on the whole, it has its, it has its disadvantages, of course, but there is that care from cradle to grave, and I like that. That's there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And winters. So have you gotten used to?
No. They can't take the winters. Can't take the no light, the gray. It. So the last 8 years, I have after my father got ill with a stroke, I made the final. I had been thinking about it for many years, but I thought, now I do it. 3 months, minimum 3 months out of the year, I go home to Jamaica in the winter because I cannot bear this. I cannot bear this, the grayness and the no light and the cold, of course. So
That's a good compromise there,
yes. It costs something, of course.
Right.
It costs not only financially, but it costs also in your relationships with people. You have my girlfriends, when I'm away, they're like, and when I come back, this and this happened to me while you were gone. But now with technology and stuff, more, there isn't any reason not to be in touch,
So what months are these?
So I typically go to Jamaica December, January, February. I did it a little bit like that because I have a small design business and I attend some markets when I'm home in Jamaica. So those markets happen in the month of December mostly, and so I kind of time it for that. So and I like to be home for Christmas with my mother, who is still alive, and
Okay.
so
Well, good. You get the Christmas breeze there and not the Christmas.
Yes.
And so, are your children still in Denmark?
My daughter lives in Germany, and
Okay.
she moved from here. She met a German and married him, and so she now lives in Germany, which is 5 hours drive from here. So it's not that bad. And then she has 2 children, so I have 2 grandchildren.
Oh.
Like my heart. Uh,
People say if they could sometimes joke and say if we could have done the grandchildren first.
first, right? And it's true. It's completely true. Completely true. God.
And your son, is he still there or is he?
He's away. He had enough of this life. He was 24 when he died, and
Oh, okay.
but Denmark was where he was a musician, and here is where he made his music life. And
Okay.
even although Jamaica was always his home, and he always, both my children from they were very, very young, even when I couldn't travel with them from here, they would
Right.
travel to Jamaica in the summertime and spend the summers there. So Jamaica is their home.
I see. So, in terms of the people, what are the Danes like? there? You probably have to go back. I know you have friends now, but when you first got there and you're encountering the Danes and you were married to a Dane.
Yes.
So what are the people like?
They're not that open. They're very reserved, and it took me a long time to sort of be wondering, wow, these people, you're not very friendly. But somebody told me that Danes, their way is that they have a set number of friends, whether it's 10 or 15 or whatever, but they have a set number of friends through their whole life, and those same friends they keep, and they're not looking a new one. So it's hard to break into. It's hard to break into Danes. I have a few Danish friends, very few. Most of my friends are from America, and I have a couple of friends from Spain, and so they're not Danes.
I see. So you haven't gotten into a Dane friend group, I guess is what you're saying, or
Right. And I work in the Danish in the Danish. I work in a nursing home. I work in nursing home, and I do I kind of have a system here called Hjemmehjælp, which is home help. So I cycle around one of the cities and pop into people all the time. And have you taken your meds? Can I make you some lunch? Can I spread your bed for you? Blah blah blah. So I'm very much in the Danish way, but in my private life, I don't have any. I have maybe a handful of Danish friends.
okay, and that is a little, as I said, you say it's 10 friends or a group that they're with. Are they friendly to, I don't want to say strangers, but
Foreigners.
foreigners, are what is it typically like, for foreigners?
Because
And again, you may not consider yourself a foreigner at this point, 30 odd years.
no, you're crazy. Still I am. Because I'm close to an expat group. I mean, my closest friends are both from New York, and I have some other friends who are from other parts of America. But and I have a very, very, very close friend who I got in touch with before I even moved here. I consider him my Danish brother. But these are people who have traveled and know a little bit about the world, so they're not very close. And then I have, more recently in the last 3 years, a 93-year-old woman who I'm very close to. I talk to her every day on the phone, and we FaceTime, and we have great talks. I mean, she asks questions about everything, and she got pictures from Jamaica. By 3 months there, every day I had something. I sent her a photo. So she knows a lot about Jamaica now. In her last years on Earth. So it's nice to talk to her about Denmark and what Denmark was like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, when she was growing up. And so that's also a nice thing for me to have in my bag of information about Denmark.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do the Danes, when they realize or learn that you're Jamaican, what are some of the responses that you get?
Yeah, the typical thing is Bob Marley and spliff, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't smoke spliff, so nothing there to get. But they also say things like they're a little bit surprised that I am. Again, we're talking about this colorism. I mean, they think, oh, we always thought Jamaicans were really really, really dark skinned. Or I'm like, no, we come in all kind of colors and all shades, from white to black. So, and everything in between. So that's the thing that they say the most.
Okay. And do they some people say it opens a door for them.
Yes.
Do you find that it opens a door for you when you say I'm Jamaican.
Yes, it does, because they some of them don't know where Jamaica is, and never, they're not really, and I say, oh, well, it's south of, of North America, at the very bottom, south of Florida, if you know where that is, kind of thing. It's in the Caribbean Sea. But they're interested, and it's without prejudice. It's not like the kind of response you might get if you said something else, like, I mean, there are many older Danes who are afraid of Muslims, and have prejudices.
Mm,
So it's not like the same at all.
mm. I see. I see. In terms of the immigration, the immigrant population there, is there where you are a large immigrant population? You mentioned there are expats there, but
Yes,
sometimes they're working and they're gone. How is the population in the city? Is it diverse?
it is diverse. I happen to live in a sort of very conservative part of Copenhagen, called Østerbro. But just across the lake, just across the way, is Nørrebro, and Nørrebro is very, very diverse. Very. There are a lot of Turkish and others, and Arab people, and Spanish. I mean, it's very, very diverse. Østerbro, not so much, but I go across the river, across the lake, and then I'm in Nørrebro, and it's all kind of stuff to get there that I can't get here in Østerbro.
So you mentioned, and I don't know if this was created by you in the background, your background there, which I love, but you mentioned that you have a little design, I believe, or design
Yes,
business,
yes.
and so on. So is that based there in, you're based
Østerbro.
there with the design business, but what is it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, I happen, and it's really only happened. I just reached behind here and saw, oh, there I have a catalog. But I drew and designed a chandelier some many years ago, and I've been using the time to sell and market and produce, but they look like this.
Okay.
And I did this 11, 12 years ago, and spent the years right after I had developed it, going to trade fairs twice, three times a year, trying to sell it and trying to get it out there. But, the one-man show, yeah, sometimes it's not quite enough. And in my case, it wasn't enough. So
Okay.
I still have the lamps, and I do the jewelry from like this piece here and the ring here that I have on.
Oh, that's a lovely piece.
It
Wow.
is part of the upcycling. When I plot these pieces, these arms, they're flat pack chandeliers,
Right.
on the computer, all the negative spaces. Then I plot bracelets and rings and small bits for earrings, and then I make a sort of a tapestry, which I take to a guy that I know who cuts them by laser. And then I take all the bits home. I pack the lamps. I pack the electrics that I've put together to make the lamp. And I sell them on Etsy. And the jewelry, the upcycled jewelry, comes from the spare bits of the production of the chandeliers.
Very nice. Very, very nice. I was looking at the piece and wow,
Yes,
that's
yes.
great.
Thank you.
What's the Etsy website?
The Etsy website is Accent CPH. Accent CPH, short for Copenhagen.
Okay. All right. All right. So you can check Claire's items out there.
Yes.
So I'm going to go back to the diversity
Yeah.
a little bit there. In food, in terms of food there, because there's some diversity there, is there, a diversity in food? And it's a two-part question. This is a two-part. First of all, the diversity in food. And the second part to this question is there a food, Danish food that you'd say, or Dane food that you would say
Danish
is
is right.
something, Danish is right? Okay.
Mhm.
Danish food that you would say you have to try? All right.
Okay, well,
It's two
well,
parts. Again, the diversity in food.
so there's plenty diversity. I mean, you can get anything and everything here. Everything. You go to the greengrocer and you will get I have bought guavas one time. I must say in 33 years only the one time I've seen it. So, but you get avocados, you get all of the foods that you want from the greengrocers in the diverse part of town. Narborough across the lakes. And I mean, I wouldn't swear for the quality, but you can get it. And the rest, there's Mexican restaurants, there's Japanese sushi, there's Ethiopian food, there's
Is there Jamaican food?
no.
Okay.
The
All right.
Jamaican people, that when they start up something, you go there and the food is so tame and so lacking, oomph. And then when you ask them, they say, "Oh, but we're catering to the Danish people, and we have to,
They have to tone it
tone
down.
it down." So so you take what you can get, but and then they go out of business after 3 years or 4 years, and which is very, very sad.
Mm.
So so yeah, I'm
the food
saving
you
my
must. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saving my little piece of bun that I brought home with me. I cut it thin, so it can stretch.
So, what is a food that you would say, the Danish food that you're like, you have to try this food?
Still the fishing industry here is huge, and the Danes eat for lunch. They have these open sandwiches. They're called smørbrød. They're open sandwiches with rye bread, heavy dark rye bread, and fish on top. This is marinated, or it's smoked, or it's something. And there's one of these versions of this fish is from Bornholm, which is one of the islands belonging to Denmark. And this sill, this herring, is delicious. It's sort of breaded and a little bit sweet, and seasoned nicely and nice. So I like still on rye bread. My husband is not so much for it. He thinks, he will say some very unkind things about how it looks, but never mind. So I don't bite that often, but I like that. I like kanelsnegl, cinnamon bun. They make great cinnamon buns here. So, there's, yeah.
You get used to it. So you get your Jamaican fix when you get down there for your 3 months. Your Jamaican.
Exactly. And of course now the COVID has hit. I mean, David, my partner, and I call him my husband because I've been with him for 25 years, so it's just as good. He's from London, so when we used to go to London, then I would hit Brixton immediately to go for my patty. So, he knows I don't even try to go to your friend first or nothing like that. We're going straight to the Jamaican place to get my patty. And then, then we can proceed from there with the visit. But
yeah, Brixton, boy, you're definitely getting your fix in Brixton.
Yes.
Plus, if you want your fruits and your
right.
the market there is like a little.
It is. When I first came to Denmark, I'd been here about with a year or something, and I had the lady who I was working with. She's a shoemaker, so I was her assistant in her little shoemaker establishment. She wanted to go to London. She said, "You want to come with me?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." And we went to Brixton. And let me tell you, after that, died and gone to heaven, because I had just also come from Los Angeles. I lived out in Pasadena, which is a sort of a suburb of the former Los Angeles. So I wasn't getting much Jamaican things in there either. Oh my goodness, I was in heaven. And I would just stand and listen to people talking,
Yeah.
And they're just taking it all, sucking it all in. It was lovely.
What would you say was your biggest adjustment apart from the language when you got there to Denmark?
Well, of course, the language was a thing, but I found, and as you can see, I'm dressed in something dark. I came from California with my bright yellow, bright orange palm tree print clothes, very, very colorful and very, very sort of lively. And I come to Denmark and, people looking at me sideways. And I thought, what's going on here? And I get to find out that, no, you don't, unless you want to be looked at funny, black, and more black. Maybe you want to put some gray, but go on. And I just thought, wow. So that was some cold water thrown on me right there. I was just like, oh boy.
Oh wow, that is very interesting. I love some bright colors. I mean,
yeah. So, and even things like lipstick. I mean, in Jamaica, this is when you're getting dressed. You put on your lipstick and you're going out. You get looked at sideways. So, but sometimes, if it's really gray, it's been gray for 2 or 3 years, I put on my hot pink lipstick and I'm gone. I don't care if you want to look sideways. You can look how you want to look. But, I'm putting on my pink lipstick because I need some color up in here.
So, in terms of when you visit or, people come to Denmark, is there an event, an activity, a location, an attraction, any of those that you would say, if you get an opportunity, here is something that you should experience or you may want to do in Denmark?
After I scratched my head over the question, I thought, wow. Also because the last 8 years of my life have been very focused on taking care of my parents in those 3 months. The other 9 months, I'm working my ass off to be able to stay there for 3 months. So, I haven't had much time to go out and do the things that I like to do or things that people do in their free time. So, but not far from where I live are the lakes. And this is a feature of Copenhagen. There are 5 lakes. They string down through the city. And it's just a lovely thing to just go and sit on a bench, if you can catch some sun, a bench with sun, and sit there and just watch the swans going up and down, and the ducks and whatever they're doing. And people just, going by and up and down. And then a lot of cafes along the side of the lake where you can just hang out and have brunch or beer or whatever. So the lakes are, and I'm very, very fortunate that it's just right, I don't know what, 100 steps from my front door. Then we have a huge park, which is Felle Park, which is lovely. And in the summertime, of course, everybody strip off and, lying out on the grass. But they have concerts there, and they have, and one of my things is I salsa and tango. And yes, so in the summertime, they have like 6 weeks of salsa, tango, Afrobeat, and some other dance forms in a certain part of the park. That is a must. So, I eat my dinner early, 5:30, gone to the park in the summertime to go dance some salsa and tango. So teleparking is nice. But then, when I've not had many visitors, unfortunately, but I have a friend who said she was going to come. And the last time she told me she was coming, I thought, what am I going to show her? I mean, so it depends on what's interesting for you, So
okay.
She has promised to tell me that she's coming when she's coming. And I went, I have to question her good because there's everything here. There's an outdoor ski, all year ski hill, not far from where I live either. And when you go out from the city, there are parks with huge giant sculptures, and there's a great flower shop. A very unusual guy that does, he's old now. He's like maybe 80, I would say, something like that, 80, 90. But he's got a flower shop that's amazing. And he has the most unusual things. He sometimes has the 3 breadfruits with flowers coming out of them, or he'll have some, yes, stuff that I recognize. And he'll have really, really, really unusual, unorthodox flower settings. So he has a lovely shop in town. And the Jazz Festival in July, not to be missed.
Oh, it sounds like there are things there, the one thing.
Too much things, you can't sleep. Too much things.
So do you hear reggae there?
Yes. There are, the reggae is heard by, again, this, we're talking about this class thing and this sort of colorism and whatever. There are those who are like a little bit grungy and scruffy and, young people that, sort of live rough. And they have reggae clubs that they go to, and people are smoking and, there. And then you have the people who are listening to like Damian Marley, and, you hear it in shops and stuff, and it's the sort of more gentrified reggae, if you want to call it that. But yes, you get reggae.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
So I'm winding down, and listen, Claire, I really appreciate the time you have spent telling us a little bit about your story. I know there's a lot more we could have gone into. The pen pal thing was, interesting. You and I talked a little bit about that earlier, and
Yes.
so on. But there are a lot of directions we could have gone in. But the question I have winding down is, what would you say is the one piece of advice you would give to someone who is thinking of relocating to Denmark?
I used to be involved with a group called the Caribbean Scandinavian Association. It's sort of taken a backseat. I haven't heard anything from them in a while, but I would contact maybe through Facebook any sort of Caribbean group, because Jamaicans, even though we are, I don't know how many we are here. I remember hearing somebody say something like 400 in Sweden or something, but I go to a local club bar called Dexter's, and Dexter he has all the rums from Jamaica, and Dexter's Jamaican, of course, and a lot of Jamaicans go there and hook up. When we have independence, we go there and drink and hang out and so I would definitely go first to Facebook and put in Jamaica in Copenhagen and find a group, or find some kind of your way through to finding somebody who can put you on to where the Jamaicans are hanging out. And many of us who have been here a long time are happy to share information and tips and tricks, and how you can navigate the system, and so just find us.
All right. That's great. So listen, I mean, a wealth of information here.
Yes.
Just a wealth of information. You mentioned this group of 400 and Dexter's. Just once a year, that people kind of meet up once a year there?
No. The Caribbean Scandinavian Association, I believe, has folded. Again, normally I'm in touch with the ones who are running it, and they'll say we'll have a fish fry once a year, or we'll have one other event close to the end of the year. But Dexter's is open when we get to be open, his bar, because I just asked him when he was opening, and he has like once a month he has Caribbean food. I mean, it's as close as we can get, and we take it because that's what we can get. But he has Caribbean food once a month, and he'll advertise and say, Caribbean food on Sunday at 4:00, and people come out and, order food and hang out and drink. And so when he opens, boy, I'll be down.
I see.
Yes.
So again, thank you. And here is how I typically end. I typically ask that you teach me and the audience how to say goodbye in the most informal way. It don't sound like the Danish are very informal, or the Danes are very informal, but in the most informal way, we that's a boy, little more, or
yes,
later or something. What would be the most informal way to say goodbye there?
Very, very easy, because the hello and the goodbye is the same thing. So hi, simply, and hi are gone.
Oh, all right. Clear. Thanks again. And
yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.